All right, welcome back, fellow escapees. Welcome back to my channel where I help burnt out corporate employees ditch their boring 9 to 5 and create financial freedom. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to save your first $100,000 and why after you save your first $100,000, your net worth seems to explode. So sometimes when I mentor clients, or when I see people in the comments section, they feel like with the inflation going on right now and the stagnant wages that they feel like they cannot ever save anything or ever get to the 100K mark. And I'm here to tell you that it's definitely possible. Plenty of people have done it. Janitors have done it. Teachers have done it. Nurses, people on just average American salaries. So you do not have to be rich to save up your first 100K. So do not have that limiting belief. When you have that limiting belief, then of course you're not going to get there because you keep blocking your mind on ways to get there. When you start believing you can achieve it, then it starts to open up doors for you, and you'll start noticing like synchronicities and things coming your way, which is going to allow you to be able to get to that 100K mark. So what I mean about synchronicities or allowance is you'll start seeing the universe kind of like open up, bring people to you into your life where opportunities will start coming, whether that be you creating a side hustle, whether you find another job opportunity or get a raise. You just don't know what could happen over the next few years of your life. So once you start believing that anything is possible, then you'll start noticing that God will make a way for it to happen. But you first have to believe that it's possible. So I want to talk about obstacles first before we get into the numbers and how you're going to achieve this goal. So like I said, people face a lot of obstacles in their life, so they don't believe that they can achieve this milestone in their life. But I'm here to tell you, I did it on an average working salary, waiting tables in a restaurant years ago before I left corporate America. And I was able to do it. And so I know that it's possible that you can do it. You can do it with one job, or you may need 2 jobs. I don't know because I don't know your personal situation, but you can do this. Now, when I felt discouraged back in the day, kind of like some of you guys feel right now, when I felt discouraged, what I would do is, because I love to read, I would read stories about women entrepreneurs, and I would read stories about people who overcame obstacles. And one of my favorite stories is Mary Kay Ash, the lady who invented the makeup line called Mary Kay. Everyone knows it. Your grandma knows it. If you're not familiar with it, if you're too young to remember it, because I don't think it's as I don't see it marketed as much as I used to back in the day because of all the new beauty products and beauty lines out on the market. And I don't see a lot of door-to-door sales for it like I used to when I was growing up back in the day. So if you're not familiar with the brand or the woman who started it, ask your grandma, your mother, people a little bit older, and they'll tell you about this phenomenal woman. So Mary Kay was into sales, and she grew up in an era where women did not have a lot of opportunity, and women, weren't treated fairly, equally, and definitely didn't get the same pay as men. So she was so good at sales at this one job, and she realized that the job was starting to, when they would hire people, they'll bring in males. They would ask her to train the males, and then they would give the males the higher roles instead of giving her the higher pay and higher roles because she was a female. So she decided to start her own beauty brand business that, as we know today, is $1 billion empire. She has already passed away, so her son has inherited that business along with some of her other family members. But when I look at the story of the obstacles that she faced, it makes me realize that I can achieve almost anything. There is also another lady who's one of my favorite stories is Madam C.J. Walker. She was a Black woman who grew up in segregation time, and she faced even more obstacles than Mary Kay, because Mary Kay was a white woman. Madam C.J. Walker was a Black woman, so she couldn't go get bank loans. She couldn't own property and certain things without, because of her color, or unless she was married, unless she had a male co-sign or sign off for it. So she had way more obstacles in her life. She was still able to become the first Black woman billionaire in the United States of America, as far as we know. But one of the things I like to remind myself is the obstacles these women face, how some of them, not Mary Kay, but some of the women before their time didn't even have cars, they didn't have cell phones, they, made, I think it was like 1 or 2 cents a day. So they would have to save like half of their lifetime, almost close to their age of death, in order to have enough money to buy a land, in order to pass that on to the next generation. So some of them never even got to enjoy their land that they purchased and the things that they built for their families, but they had to work their whole life to get the money together. There was no credit cards, there was no bank loans. So you really had to work for what you had. So when you guys are out here saying, well, I can't achieve this, you have cell phones, you have cars, you have the internet, you can talk to anybody all over this freaking world. You can pick up the phone and FaceTime someone and see their face. Mailed and can be FedEx overnight. You can build an e-commerce business online. You can do so much more than these women. And so I would say, if you are facing obstacles in your life and you feel like there's no hope, go and start reading stories about people who had less than we have today, and then think about how they were able to achieve their goals. And then you will see that we really do have it pretty good, even if we do have a few obstacles in our way. Another thing I would like for you guys to do is I would like for y'all to take out a calculator and play along with me for this, because I want us to get an idea of where you guys are financially and to see if I can help you get to this goal. So what I would like for you guys to do is, I would like for you to, assuming that you're already in a profession that is, a pretty decent wages. We're not talking about if you make minimum wage or if you make $12 or $15 an hour. You may have to up your wages just a little bit more. But if you're already in a professional career, I'm assuming you are, because this channel is mainly geared towards corporate employees. So I'm assuming you already have a salary in the $45,000, maybe $65,000 range. So we're going to use $50,000 as our benchmark. Of course, you can up this number depending on how much you make, or depending on if you're a higher income earner. So I'm going to use $50,000 for my calculations, and I'm going to look at after taxes. I believe that's about, I don't have the tax bracket for it, but maybe about after taxes, you should have about maybe 42,000 left. Let's just say you have 42,000 after taxes. Now I'm going to calculate this number over 30 years. So over 30 years, you've already made after taxes about 1 to 1.2 million, even 1.3 million. Like I said, give or take, because I don't know your tax bracket or how much is being taken out of your check. So I'm going to estimate you have already earned between 1 million and 1.3 million in 30 years of working time. Now I'm going to do this with 40 years of working time. So in 40 years, you've earned $1.6, $1.7 million. So in your working lifetime, you have plenty of time, even though my channel is about getting there a little bit faster and my mentorship is about reaching this goal a little bit faster. I'm just giving you an idea that all the years that you're putting in and working, and you're saying, I can't do this, you really can do it. You've really made over $1 million, $2 million in your working lifetime. So you definitely have made enough to be able to do this plan. But you're letting a lot of, you're prioritizing other things in your life. And how I know this is because, like I said, if you look at people who came from hardly nothing and were able to achieve this, then there should be no reason that you can't achieve this. So you're letting lifestyle creeps and lifestyle inflation take all your hard-earned money, and interest on credit cards, car loans, and all this debt take all your money. And that's why you haven't been able to achieve it. But here's some ways you're gonna change what you've been doing in the past, because if whatever you've been doing, if you don't have that 100K saved up, whatever you were doing in the past, you need to work on eliminating those things because they're not working for you, and you need to have a new mindset so that you can achieve this goal. So you don't want to keep doing whatever it is you're doing in the past, whatever you're spending your money on. You don't want to keep doing that, bringing that into the future. So first thing you're going to do is, if you're with a company and the company gives you a match, 2%, 4%, 6% is the most common matches we see employers giving employees. Now, the 401k match, I think it's about $24,000 a year, but you want to at least, even if you don't max it out to the whole 25,000 a year, you still want to max it out enough to get your employer's match. So once you can get your employer's match, you're going to stop putting your money into your 401k unless you want to put more. And there's a reason why I said don't max it out yet, unless, like, the scenario would be that you know, have other things in your life already set up, like your debts are paid off, your emergency fund is built. But if you don't have that taken care of right now, then you want to at least build that up on first before you start maxing it out, because you got to get rid of these debts because they're costing you a lot of money, and you got to have a small emergency fund built up because emergencies are guaranteed to happen. That's the one thing that's guaranteed, is an emergency, and we all get emergencies in our life. So with that match, you're going to get to this number super fast. You're going to get to this number within roughly about 3 to 4 years if you have that employer match and you're putting in up to or more of the contribution amount. If you do not have an employer match, you can, or you don't want to, you want to be able to access this money before you're 60 years old. I do teach in my mentorship program, I do teach you how you can access the money a little bit before you're 60 years old and still grow your wealth. But for the sake of this video here, we're not going to talk about accessing it earlier than your retirement date. So if you say, well, I need to be able to use this 100K before my retirement date because either I'm going to buy businesses, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to do early retirement, and I need some of the money to live off of. This is another way you can get to that first 100K. So you're going to save $25,000 a year for 4 years. I'm sorry, it's 3.5 years, which is almost 4 years. That is without you getting any type of return on your money, meaning it's just your pure money that you saved up. It doesn't mean you got any interest off of it from a CD, interest from a savings account, interest from, or dividends from the stock market. This is just your purely you just putting away $25,000 a year. It's going to take you 3.5 years. And if you decide that you do want to, you say, well, I am going to put in a stock market, I am going to put in some index funds, some mutual funds, some ETFs, then the return, 8 to 12% return a year, is going to help you get to that amount way faster. I think it shaves probably about a year off, so it helps you get there around 3 years. Okay, because you're going to be getting you're going to put your own money into the account, and then the stock market is going to contribute the rest of the money to your account. Okay. Now, what I will say is, if you decide that you don't want to, if you decide you're going to put them in a very low, like a CD or a savings account, which only pays anywhere from 1 to 4% interest in most places, then it's going to take you a lot longer. So my recommendation would be that you put it into some equities that have high yields, so you can get your money. Your money's going to grow way, way faster if you do it like that. If you do it the slow way, then it's going to take a lot longer for you to get there. What I did, which gave me some money, which gave me my money to be able to get to my 100K fast, is I put like, this is a while back, so I put like $15,000 down and bought a rental property. This is a while back, because I don't think you can, get properties this low, as low as I got that property, plus with the closing costs and everything like that. So how I did it when I was trying to build my escape plan was I had my 401k, and then I had also my little savings and everything like that. But one of the things that helped me get to my goal faster was buying a property, living in that property, then turn around, once I lived in it for a little while, renting that property out. So it was the rental income and plus the tax savings, which is the depreciation, as well as the when a home went up in value, called appreciation. So between all that, when I cashed out, I had the money I needed. So you can do it that way. You can also, if you learn how to do it correctly and legally in your state, you can learn how to wholesale properties, which means you never have to own them or buy them. But what you do is you're going to get the contract on the home, and then you're going to flip it to another buyer. And then the buyer, which most likely is going to be an investor, because you can't put that home on the traditional market like the MLS, through a realtor. because the realtor is going to have their fee, and then there's a spread between that, and so that spread is usually your money if you're a wholesaler. So being a wholesaler, you're going to have to go locate these properties and make sure there's enough ARV for you to well, ARV is the after repair value, but after the ARV, and then between a sales price and the spread between the sales price and what you flip the contract for is going to be your profit. It's very similar to a real estate agent's, but you can do that 2 to 4 times in 1 year or over 2 years, and you can get that 100K up, because some of these properties have 20, 50 grand worth of spread in them. And so, if you learn how to do that, you can go do that with about 2 to 4 properties, and usually you can get to your 100 grand or get very close, almost 50 grand, and then make your other 50 grand, and then, doing it the other way I told you. So there's more than one way to do this. You can buy a property, hold it, rent it out, and just get your money that way, and wait for the home to go up in value and get it that way within a few years. If you know your market is going to go up in a few years, then you can do it that way. Or you can become a wholesaler. If you decide that you want to go to stock market way, there's some ETFs you can start looking into. One is Vanguard Growth, and Vanguard Growth, and then Fidelity, which are 2 different brokerage firms. So they both have a 500 index growth fund that you can look into to help you grow the money if you decide to just save up your own money and put it into a fund. Charles Schwab also has a fund, which is a large cap fund. SCHG is the ticker, so you can look into that fund as well to see if you want to put your money into the stock market, into some large cap stocks, and let your money just grow that way. Another way that is really fast, and I don't mean it's always profitable, because you're the one who has to make it profitable, but it could be really fast if you have something, is setting up your e-commerce store. So Shopify, and you have stuff like Shopify, you have Poshmark, you have Etsy, you have eBay. If you could set up a store, online store, there's so many more platforms. I mean, that's just a few I can think of right now, but I mean, there's tons. I could probably go down to at least name another 50 of them. And, you have to find these online e-commerce platforms. And if you have something that you can sell, that's very fast, because usually once you have the inventory, or where to get the inventory wholesale, or if you already have it, you could be up and running within 30 days once you get everything set up with your business. You want to understand how you're going to do your shipping, if it's a shippable product. If it's a digital product, you don't have to ship it, of course. And there's also some drop ships opportunities where you can have the manufacturer or the warehouse ship it to the clients Amazon does that too, in Amazon. And what you can do is you can have them ship the items directly to the consumer, where you never have to touch those items. So that can get you within 30 to 90 days up and running, and get a good, anywhere from, $1,000 to 50 grand a month in your pocket, depending on what you're selling. So, and a lot of people who, especially professionals, have some kind of skill set. I swear by it. You guys have y'all have superpowers. You just don't know it yet. And you can do consulting. Think about what you want to do, or what you specialize in, and how you can help someone. And you'll be surprised that you can turn that into a consulting business. So think about, like I said, write out some things that you've done in your past, or that you can maybe, if you've taken a class or certification, like let's just say you're a bookkeeper and you wanted to teach and consult people on how to become a bookkeeper. Whatever. There's a lot of things. Digital marketing agencies. Content creation is such a big platform right now. Like, there's a lot of people that will hire you if you understand marketing, digital marketing, and I can't even say the word, content creation. So that's another opportunity for you. And it's all online. A lot of your clients, you can meet them online. You can do virtual calls, phone calls. You don't have to actually go and meet them in person for those kind of job opportunities. But of course, if they're in your marketplace, you want to sit down and have lunch or coffee with them, and close the deal that way. I have a real estate sales background as well as an accounting background, but I have another background I have is in sales. And so sales, whether you're insurance sales, car sales, real estate sales, software sales in general, if you can sell or you can develop that skill set, you can definitely go from making, anywhere from, $3,000 to $5,000 a month to $40,000, $50,000 a month. It just depends on how good you are at sales. I know this one guy said he was making almost, I think, like $100,000, $200,000 a year just doing solar panel sales. He said he didn't like it, but he was able to close the deal and get people to sign up for solar panels. And he said he was making like 6 figures. He said he couldn't even believe it. Hold on one second. I dropped my paper. So if you're good at sales, you can definitely, increase your income and get to your 100K mark very fast. What I like is, and I didn't do it very long. My ex used to like to do it because he was more handy. I'm not a handy person, but he would, I remember there was a time we would find like a futon, like this one guy, he was giving away a futon and he needed somebody to come pick it up like ASAP because he had to move and he didn't have a truck and everything. And I think he had a job, and he was like a young guy. He was like, I just got to get rid of this stuff because I got to get it out of my apartment and stuff. And he was like, whoever comes gets it first, kind of like that. So he had a futon, $40, a bed, mattress, sofa, sectional sofa, all that for like $200 or something, $250. So we had that stuff for a little bit, and then we were leaving that Airbnb. We put in our Airbnb, but when we were leaving that Airbnb, we ended up selling it for a little bit more. Not a lot more because, it was very nice stuff. Actually, it was very nice. It's just that we needed to move it too when we were ready to move it out the Airbnb. So we were just kind of like, I think we sold it. Maybe we paid, like I said, $250 for everything. So maybe it breaks down to about $50 an item because we had 2 sofas, actually a sectional and a whole nother sofa. So when we put it up for $100, it was almost like we made an extra. So we bought it for $50 a piece, and then we made $50 on it. So we got our money back, plus we got an extra $50. So I just love the idea of like flipping furniture, like if you know how to do that, or restoring. Like there's these people. When we used to live in this one community, they would come by and get our old front. We would throw stuff on the curb, and you'll see them at nighttime or early in the morning come and pick up our stuff off our curb, and you'll see them going down the street just doing that throughout the neighborhood. And from what I understand, that's what they were doing. They were finding items they can fix up or that looked in good condition, and they would just go and resell it and make a good amount. I mean, you can make, if you know how to do it, you can definitely make between $1 to $10,000 a month minimum. And I don't mind doing it. I actually enjoy it. It was fun when we, did it. There's one lady, she's making $250,000 a year, and she is going to the thrift store. She's finding items that are very deeply discounted, or and of course they look in very good condition. She inspects all the items, and then she resells them on her store platform. I'm not sure if she's using eBay or what she's using, but she's reselling it, and then she's making $250,000 a year. So that's another way you can, you may not make $250,000 a year, but you can get enough money up to where you can reach your $100,000 goal faster. So I want to show you guys so that's how you get to your first $100,000. Now let's talk about how your network will explode after you get to your first $100,000. So we're just going to use $10,000 investment a year. Of course, you can up this. The faster you up this, your savings, the faster you can get out of your job if you don't like your job. The faster you can retire early, or the faster you can start your other businesses. So, but for the sake of this example, I'm just going to use $10,000 because the other example of how you get to your first $100,000, I use you saving $25K a year. And for some people, saving $25K a year in 3.5 years could be a big stretch, because if you're only making $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, it's probably going to be really hard to save that unless you take on, like I said, one of these other flipping furniture, start a side hustle. So it might be hard for you to save that unless you live with family members or somebody, you're house hacking, or you have a way to cut down on your living expenses where you can save that much a year. So 25K may sound like a lot, like I said, but that's if you want to get there very, very fast, like under 5 years. Now, let's say if you say, well, that's too hard for me to do. I don't want to go start a side hustle. I don't want to go take on a second job. I just want to use my regular income that I'm making, and I have more, and I'll take my time to get there because I don't mind staying at my job for a few more years. So I have another example, which is less amount out of your pocket. So let me move this over here because I can't see it. But so this is if you're going to save $10,000 a year. So if you say $10,000 a year, and we're assuming you're putting this in an equity fund, because remember I said if you try to just do this without an equity fund, it's going to take you way longer to do. So you got to use the market to help get you that extra interest and dividends, so help compound your growth in your money. So in 8 years you're gonna have $10,000 in passive income coming in, but you're also going to have $114,000 as your principal balance. If you let the money stay in there for 12 years, you are going to have $18,000 a year coming in passive income, and you're going to have $213,000 as your principal balance. At year 15, you're going to have $27,000 coming in a year as your passive income, and you can live off that money. You can use it for bills, you can use it to travel, you can use it for debt, you can use it for whatever you want to start your other business. So you're going to have $27,000 a year in passive income, and then you're going to have $317,000 as your principal balance. Now, at year 26, you're going to have $98,000 a year coming in. So you basically replace your salary, the average American working salary. You basically don't even have to work anymore after this. So you're going to have $98,000 coming in a year in passive income, and you're going to have around $1 million to $1.1 million as your principal balance. So it'll take you 26 years to do. I think, yes, I did say I did. Okay. Cause I was going to say, this is if you do it, we're saving $10,000 a year. But I just wanted to share that with you guys so that can show you the possibilities. It shows you the eighth wonder of the world called compound interest. It shows you how you can go from zero today to having over 100,000 to all the way up to $1 million in the future. And like I said again, take how much you're earning at your job minus your taxes, and you will get an idea how much money you have made in your lifetime and where did all that money go if you're not saving and investing some of it for yourself. The reason why the IRS takes your paycheck, if you're not a 1099 employee, if you're a 1099 contractor, if you're a W-2 employee, which the majority of Americans are, the IRS will take your money off the top. They do not play games. They do not give you a chance to spend it, and they do not give you a chance to question them. They just take it. And that's what you have to do with your money. You have to just take it and invest it. You don't start coming up with all these reasons why you can't do it or it's not possible. Just like the IRS, think about make yourself like the IRS. Just take the money and put it in there. Stop, and then what's left over is what you live off of. You have to live within what's left over. Because if you don't, the IRS tried to, when they first implemented taxes in our country, they tried to allow people to just pay them pay them taxes. They realized no one would pay. According to the history that I read, they realized no one would pay. So they said, okay, we know that when you get your paycheck, you'll find every way to spend this money. You got alcohol, you got the drugs, you got the, if you're a guy, you got the women you want to spend your money on, you got the clubs, you got the clothes, you got the cars, whatever. And the temptations of life will always have you spending every dollar you make. So the IRS said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start garnishing this money out of your paycheck. We're going to take it before you get to see it, before you get to touch it, before you get to smell it. Because they realize if they don't take the money for the American people, they will never ever get that money from the American people. So you have to kind of start thinking like a business owner or government entity. You got to start just taking the money. Say, if I don't take this money and invest it, I ain't never gonna take this money and invest it, you know? So you got to start making yourself invest that money, or you're always gonna find a way to spend it. You're always gonna find a reason to spend it. Life creeps are gonna constantly keep happening to you, and you're just gonna keep saying that there's no way you can do this when there is a way. You know, there are immigrants who come over here and able to save up more than some American people I encounter. And, you know, and sometimes people will say to me, well, it's because immigrants get help from the government. Well, people on welfare get help from the government. People who get free college education or Pell Grants and stuff get help from the government. People get scholarships, they get credit cards, they get business loans, they get PPP loans. It's not even the money that the government does help you with. It's like, even if they help you with that, people find a way to spend that money. So I do know immigrants may get some help. I know, because I know a lot of immigrants, I have immigrant clients, I hardly hear none of them talking about all this help they got. They talk about how they barely came over here with a few dollars in their pocket, and it was sink or swim, meaning they had to find work really fast and they had to figure it out really fast, or they would not make it in this country. So you guys, please start taking your future very seriously, taking your money and your finances seriously. If there's never been a time in history to get your life together, with mass inflation, mass layoffs, and changes in the government administration, now is the time that you got to start taking this seriously. And I want to let you guys know that I am dropping content weekly to help you with your personal finance. So make sure you hit that like button to join the Escapee movement. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can join our movement. And also, don't forget, there is a notification bell. And if you don't have that turned on, YouTube will not let you know when the video is on my channel. So just do that for me if you don't mind. That would really help the channel, and I really appreciate everybody who's watching this video and who's commenting on the videos. I'm glad you guys are finding some great information in these videos that I'm producing. It makes me, you know, realize that, you know, there are people who do still need this help and are looking for this kind of content, and, you know, it is adding value to somebody out their life. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.